Hi, welcome back. This is Jessie again. Today I would like to share with you about blessing. I mean, as you can see from my appearance, well, and probably from my English, I'm not from Australia. Originally, I'm from South Korea. And just like all the other people in this world, South Koreans are very much interested in blessing or being blessed. The word bless or being blessed in South Korea in Korean is 복. And well, including me, we love that word. So literally, especially according to my mom, when she was young, almost in everything they printed that word on our spoon, on our clothes, on our blankets, literally everywhere. and but and then my mother said I hated that word because my grandma was actually quite superstitious. She believed in so many superstitions, and so she was nearly, not nearly, clearly obsessed with this word, being blessed or blessing. And then it was probably from the devil. Um, every fortune teller that my grandma went to, they said to her, "Your first daughter, which is my mom, who is my mom, your first daughter is not really blessed. She is rather like a source of curse in your life." One of them really said this to my grandma. Your first daughter is not actually your daughter. She was your enemy 400 years ago, and now she reincarnated as your first daughter with disability to revenge you. So that you would you would use all your money and all your efforts and to make your life miserable. And because her life was quite miserable, my grandma believed that, when your life is miserable, you want to blame something or someone. And to my grandma, because she was superstitious and she didn't know Jesus at that time, that was my mom. And so my grandma used to say to my mom, "Oh, because you didn't bring us blessing, you're not blessed. You are the source of all my misery." And because of that, my mom hated the word blessing or being blessed. And then one day, after she met Jesus, she met Jesus and she became a true follower of Jesus. But still, her life wasn't that much changed. Her disability was still there. My grandma and my grandpa, they didn't change that much. My father was a kind of an interesting man still. So, and of course, there was not much money really. So one time my mom went to early morning prayer and she cried out to God in her prayer. She prayed, "God, I am really following you with all my heart. But why is my life still like this? Not blessed, nothing changed. Why am I so luckless?" Luckless. Without luck, still like this. And then God told her suddenly. God answered her. God said to her, "Why are you counting or thinking blessing is just about money? Count all those souls you have saved. They are your blessing." And then as his last word, God told her, "Everything will be accounted when you come before me." And that's the moment when my mom realized what blessing means truly. So that's what I would like to share about today. You know, many people, including many Christians, when we hear about the word blessing, we almost automatically think about material things. Money, good house, good car, or maybe like good people around us. It could be wealthy people, it could be people who make us comfortable. So many people think about something, material things or things that make me happy and comfortable in this life. But is that what really blessing means according to the Bible? Well, of course, yes. Abraham, for example, was blessed in that kind of sense. He was rich. He was blessed with his son when he was childless. So he was kind of blessed in, how can I say, sort of a traditional way, traditional sense. But interestingly, what Jesus said about blessing is totally different. What did he say? It is clearly listed in chapter 4, Matthew chapter 5. I'm going to read this for you. It is from verse 3 to verse 12. Now, the first, it is called as usually like Sermon on Mountain, or usually like 8 blessings, because there are 8 types of people. Jesus said, "You are blessed." And interestingly, the very first type of people Jesus said, "You are blessed," is, "Blessed are the poor in spirit." Poor, not rich. It's totally opposite from what we usually think. And more interestingly, Matthew and Luke, they can be read side by side, because basically they give the same, they are the records of the same account, same life of Jesus, but slightly different manner. So what is written in Matthew, it usually is also written in the book of Luke. Now, this about people who are blessed is also written in Luke chapter 6. In Luke chapter 6, it doesn't say, "Blessed are those who are poor in spirit." No, he simply said, "Blessed are those who are poor." That's it. So according to Luke, it sounds like Jesus really was saying, you are blessed when your bank account balance is nearly zero. I mean, if that sort of thing happens, it would be a panicking situation for most of us, isn't it? I wouldn't like that, really, either. But according to Jesus, that's the people who are blessed. First of all, how? Why? He says, why? Because there is the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is guaranteed for those kind of people. That's what he said. And so, and if you think about it, this is what really blessing means before God. I mean, in God's eyes, what we have or what we don't have in this world, it doesn't really matter. Because the life of this earth is really such a short time compared to the eternity we are going to enter after the life in this world. One time when I was in Bible college, he was my favorite lecturer. He said something like this: if you compare our life in this world and our life in the afterlife to a trip here in Australia, from, for example, like from Brisbane to Perth, so you need to cross the whole country really, and I think it is about several thousand kilometers or something like that, the distance. If you compare our life to that distance, then our life in this world would be the same distance to the first 2 centimeters. Not 2 meters, not 20 centimeters, 2 centimeters among all those several thousand kilometers. So how foolish it would be if you prepare yourself for those first 2 centimeters, but not for all the rest of the distance. It would be the most foolish thing you could ever do. That's what he said. So that's why in God's eyes, true blessing is his kingdom. What we are going to have in our next life. That is what true blessing means in God's eyes. Because, hey, that's not even comparable. I mean, really, but then why did Jesus say in Matthew chapter 5, he said, blessed are the poor in spirit, but in Luke chapter 6, blessed are those who are just poor? Well, it can be my personal opinion, but as far as I have experienced, it is very difficult, if not all impossible really. It is very difficult to be poor in spirit if you are rich in this world. If you have many material things and you have several $1 million in your bank account, then it will be almost impossible to be poor in spirit. Because, well, like I said last time, sinfulness has become our nature. And the biggest sinful nature we have is our pride. Our pride is number one proof that we are sinful. Our nature is sinful. You might want to say, well, I don't have pride. Well, I think check again. If you feel superior or inferior compared to others in any slightest sense, then it means you have pride. And I think for now, really in this world, nowadays, all the people, this whole world actually teaches you to be proud of yourself, isn't it? That's what they teach you to become. You should be proud of yourself. You should believe in yourself. I'm like, every time I hear something like that, I'm like, really? um, I mean, yeah. So if our pride is our sinful nature, then it'll it and our pride is very hard to be very hard to kill when we are rich. Usually when we are rich, when we have many things, our pride goes up. So that's why probably Jesus said in Luke chapter 6, you are blessed when you are poor. Because when you are poor in spirit. So, and then it goes on. The second type of people who are blessed, he says, blessed are those who mourn. Well, mourn about what? Well, some pastors say mourn about our sinfulness, more, and I personally think it could be mourning about how evil this world is, or it could be simply mourning about how miserable my life is. Still mourning, but it is still mourning. So blessed are those who mourn, and then blessed are the meek, who are peaceful, who don't fight. So in other words, who 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 can't afford cold fighting. According to Jesus' word, those people are blessed ones. And then blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Well, again, in Luke chapter 6, this is simply said, blessed are those who hunger. Not about righteousness, who hunger. So it may mean literally you are hungry because you have no food. But once again, those two can be connected, might be connected, because, well, who would be hungry for righteousness? Who are rich and who are powerful? Probably not. You are hungry for righteousness because you get ripped off from this world. And that's why you yearn, you long for God's kingdom to come, God's righteousness to be established in this world. And usually those people are really hungry in their lives. And then, so those blessed are the pure in heart, blessed are the peacemakers, and then blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, because of God's kingdom, because of the gospel, because of the name of Jesus. So all in all, if you read all those types of people who are blessed, in one word, they are losers in this world. Yeah, they are losers, really. Who are poor, who are hungry, who can't fight, who cannot speak loud about their opinions, who are persecuted. Those losers are blessed in God's eyes. So maybe true blessing, according to Bible, is not what most of us are thinking. Maybe true blessing is our weakness. Maybe true blessing is our hardship. You don't have enough money? That might be your blessing. You have disability or you have some issue with your body? That might be your blessing. Through that, we can experience God. We can be powered by God even more. And because of that, because of those we lack, we long God's kingdom and God's righteousness. Because we don't have much in this world, we yearn and we look for God. We focus on God and His kingdom rather than what is in this world. So in that sense, those what we don't have are really our blessing, I guess. So I know every time I finish my sharing, I say, may God bless you. So once again, I want all of you to be blessed in its true meaning. I'm not saying I want you to be poor or you to be hungry, have nothing to eat. No, I'm not saying that. God actually also says in Jeremiah, God says what God's true desire for us is peace and calm and comfortable, be easy in this life. That's what God truly wants for us in this life as well. So I also believe that it is good. That is also God's intention. And why wouldn't He? I mean, like I said before, we are God's children, and no parent wants their children to be hungry or poor or difficult in their lives. No. But at the same time, no parents want their children to go astray or to be addicted to some bad things like gambling or alcohol or whatever. And sometimes, to not to go astray, parents need to remove some things from their children. For example, to alcoholic, you cannot give money, right? Because if you give money to an alcoholic, to where would he use that money? To buy another alcohol, to buy another drink. So you don't want that. So to that person, actually, having no money is blessing. So I'm just saying, true blessing can be sometimes different from what we think. And sometimes we ourselves might not know what is true blessing to me right this moment. For example, many of us think, oh, it would be blessing if I have good partner or a good house or much money. But God might say, no, what you really need at the moment is not that. What you really need is a stronger faith or patience or power to self-control yourself. And if that's what God sees, then God would give us the circumstance that we could improve for example, our patience or our self-control. And in what kind of situation can we improve our patience? There was a pastor in my former Australian church. He says how to get um, long suffering. Another name of patience is long suffering. How can you get long suffering? You need to suffer long. So in that case, that suffering situation, suffering circumstance is our blessing. So yeah. So yeah, like I said, I want you to be blessed really according to what God sees in its true meaning. Then we might not understand in this life, but when we go to His kingdom, we will understand everything. That's what Apostle Paul said in chapter 13, 1 Corinthians, that he said, here in this world we do not know, just as we see things through mirror, but in that kingdom, in that world, in God's world, we will see everything clear. That's what he says, and that's exactly what it is. So may God bless you in its true sense.